Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror film Shook, a film that is co-written and directed by Jennifer Harrington, and it stars Daisy Tudor, Emily Gose, Nicola Posner and Grant Rosenmeyer. Now, this film essentially follows a character called Mia, who is a social media influencer. She has like her own makeup channel. And she becomes the target of an online terror campaign while she is over at her sister's house sitting and looking after the dog. While she's being terrorized digitally, online if you like, she is made to make some impossible choices between some of her friends, who will live, who will die, etc. And it's up to her to try and make it through the night and figure out what is going on. Right, what are my thoughts on Shook? Well, this is a genre, if you like, that is obviously gaining more and more popularity over the years. You've got your things like your Unfriended and similar things like that. There was the other Shudder film last year called Host, which I really enjoyed. So, you know, social media type horror films are not uncommon these days. So it is starting to become a little bit crammed, is this subgenre of the horror films. And unfortunately, I don't think this does enough differently to stand out, in my opinion. I think much of it is... I don't know, I think the setup's poor. It feels cheap. And then when we get to Mia, like doing the house sitting thing, much of the first act is her wandering around a darkened house, even though she keeps constantly telling, to put the lights on. You know, the whole house is computerized, so you say turn lights on and it will do it. She turns lights and lamps on and it doesn't lighten the room at all. It's one of those films where you're constantly walking around darkened corridors. And she's shouting for the dog because the dog's gone missing. So much of the first act I think is pretty dull. I think the setup isn't very good. The second act picks up a bit when she starts getting these interactions, the phone calls and the messages online from this unknown caller who is making a jump through hoops basically, if she doesn't do the things that this caller is asking, then one of her friends will die, or she'll have to choose which one will die, and that sort of thing. That it picks up a bit then, and you feel the impossible decisions and the impossible choices that she has to make, and that was okay. And then again, I think it falls off a cliff. It does like this weird twist, or red herrings, and that's the other thing with this film. It's just full of red herrings. And confusion, and then they've got to put exposition in to explain the confusion and the red herrings. It kind of keeps tripping itself up. So yeah, this kind of red herring stroke twist happens, and then you start breathing again, and then it ramps up again, and you're just thinking, well, what, you didn't need to do that red herring, you just do the reveal, and you could have just scraped a good 15 minutes off the film and made it work a bit better and a bit snappier, and editing would have helped move the film along a little bit quicker. And then the reveal for me was just a little bit underwhelming, and it started getting into, real pantomime villain territory, you know what I mean? The motivations were predictable, and a little bit, I don't know, it just felt very generic to me, the explanation and the reveal and things like that. And it almost felt like, as well, you know, the beginning of Scream, the Wes Craven film, the classic from the 90s, you know, when Drew Barrymore gets the phone call. This film feels like an extended version of the opening scene of Scream, duplicated with today's technology and social media and things like that. Much of it felt like that for me, and if you want to watch an hour and a half film based on the opening scene of Scream, then this might be for you. For me, it dragged a little bit and it got a bit dull, and it was full of horror tropes, like I say, walking around darkened rooms, making social media do whatever the film wants it to do. Social media, you know, doesn't work the way a lot of these films portray social media working. You know, this instantaneous messaging. You know, you send someone a message and they reply literally the split second you've sent your message and things like that. It's like madness, you know. They don't. People have got to see the message and then they've got to type, and it's just, you know, I'm searching the internet as well. You know, she's got a minute to answer this question, or one of her friends is going to die, and she's searching the internet at the speed, you know, that, you know, Wile E. Coyote would struggle with, or Roadrunner. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. How a lot of that works, social media in films, and I think it's another one of those tropes that gets me. You know, how they make social media work in movies and the digital age and walking around darkened corridors, and it's just, to me, the predictable reveal again was another horror trope for me. So it felt like a poor man's Scream to some degree. A poor man's Unfriended, a poor man's Host, and a little bit underwhelming. However, there are some good tense I think the second act is okay, and there are some good tense moments in it. And I think the central performance by Daisy Tudor as Mia is absolutely fine. I bought her performance. I don't know why they needed to make her this social media star, because you're not really sure how big a star she was, and it wasn't really particularly relevant to the film. It was more of a family drama when the reveal and everything takes place, so I'm not sure what difference it made whether she was a social media influencer or not. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's bang average, a little bit underwhelming and a little bit disappointing as well, but if you like these social media type horror films, you could do far worse than this one, I suppose. So that is my review for Shook. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I will be back with more reviews and content on Screen Stars very, very soon.